Chapter 4: The Angel of Music.
The Viscount Raoul de Chagny had tried to visit Christine many times since the night she had ignored him in her dressing room, but she continued to refuse to see him. She had recovered with difficulty from her horrific experience beneath the opera and was now too upset to respond to the young man's requests. Just when Raoul had nearly given up hope, he received a letter from her in which she said,
Monsieur, I have not forgotten the little boy who went into the sea to get my scarf. Soon I am going to Perros. My father is buried there, at the little church where you and I used to play when we were children, and where we said goodbye for the last time. Come to Perros if you wish to see me. Christine.
Raoul was overjoyed and confused at the same time. Why would she pretend not to know him and then send him a letter inviting him to visit her? There was only one way to find out. He would accept her invitation. Christine visited her dressing room at the Opera House to collect a few things for her trip, but before she could go out of the door, a voice full of pain and suffering rang out from the walls.
Christine, where are you going?
She stopped at once, not wishing to upset him. When he spoke in that tone, it alarmed her, and she responded softly.
It's the anniversary of my dear father's death. I'm taking the train to Perros to visit his grave.
Are you traveling alone?
Christine could not lie. It was not in her character to do so. But it was more than that. He would know. She could hide nothing from him.
The Viscount Raoul de Chagny is planning to visit me there. He's been a good and respected friend of my family's since our childhood, and he wishes to pay his respects to my father's memory.
I won't hear of it. You may reject my ugliness, but you cannot stop me from loving you. I warned you not to touch my mask, but you insisted on seeing my face. Now we shall never be apart. I shall be your shadow until death parts us. You will never be alone with another man.
Christine's heart sank, but she replied,
I shall not betray you.
As Raoul sat in his compartment on the express train to Perros, the city of Paris faded from sight, and visions of Christine's life filled his memory. As a young child, she had lived with her parents near the city of Uppsala in Sweden. Her father often amused himself by playing the violin, his favorite pastime. After the death of Christine's mother, Monsieur Day decided they would move on with their lives in a new place, and he would make a career of his music. During a concert, a music professor named Valerius and his wife heard Monsieur Day play. They were impressed by his musical skill and took him and Christine with them to France, hoping to help him professionally. At the seaside village of Perros, where they settled, he spent endless days on the beach playing the violin while Christine sang to his music. Even as a child, she had a beautiful voice, and many thought she would become a great star. One summer day at the beach, a strong wind blew Christine's scarf into the sea. She heard an unfamiliar voice shouting,
Don't worry, I'll get it.
Then she saw a little boy running into the water. It was Raoul, the Viscount de Chagny. From that moment on, she and Raoul were constant companions. Monsieur Day enjoyed telling stories to Raoul and Christine, and there was one in particular that Raoul would remember for the rest of his life: the story of the Angel of Music. Monsieur Day asked Raoul,
Have you ever heard the Angel of Music sing?
The boy shook his head.
Well, my boy, if you do, you'll know it. His voice is so beautiful, only an angel could possess it. He blesses the gifted so they may share with the world a perfect voice, or play such wonderful music it could come only from heaven.
How does the angel find you?
When someone you love passes into heaven, he may ask the angel to bless you with the gift of perfect music, and I shall ask him to bless my dear daughter when I leave this life. Just remember one thing. If you wish to be blessed by the angel, he will ask you for something in return, and it's always something precious. You must prove your devotion by granting the angel his request, and you must never reveal the secret of your gift.
Raoul did not understand, and Monsieur Day was amused by the boy's innocence. Christine understood, though, and she would give anything to have a perfect voice. Professor Valerius died that summer, but Christine and her father continued to live with Madame Valerius, playing and singing for her every day. Christine and Raoul spent many summers together in Perros until they were grown up. Raoul then went to university, and Christine attended music school. With tears in his eyes, at the end of their last summer together, Raoul exclaimed,
"My darling, I'll never forget you."
At the opera, when he saw Christine again after their years apart, he remembered all the wonderful times they had shared in the village and how much he still loved her. Raoul reached Perros just as it was getting dark. When he arrived at the old village inn, Christine was waiting for him at a table in the hall. She looked more beautiful than ever. Raoul was pleased to see her, but he also needed answers to his questions.
"Christine, why did you reject me when I came to your dressing room at the opera?"
She was silent. Raoul became very serious.
"There's another man, isn't there?
What are you saying, Raoul?
The man in your dressing room. I heard his voice."
Christine gripped his arm.
You were listening.
When Raoul tried to take her hand, she pulled away and ran to her room. Much later, Raoul heard footsteps passing his door. When he looked out, he saw Christine walking down the corridor towards the stairs as if she was hypnotized. Where was she going in the middle of the night? He decided to follow her. He had to find out. If there was another man, Raoul would confront him. Raoul followed in the pale moonlight as Christine walked towards the sea and entered the old churchyard where they had played as children among the gravestones. As she glided past the church, in the eerie light, he thought he saw her disappear and was beginning to panic when he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned around so quickly he nearly lost his balance. Then he saw her standing there, pale and sad, in the moonlight.
Raoul, I have something to tell you. Do you remember the story my father used to tell us when we were children? The one about the angel of music.
He remembered the strange story only too well.
Raoul, the angel has visited me.
"What do you mean?"
The voice you heard in my dressing room belongs to him. He teaches me there. It is he who has given me this voice.
You really believe in this angel, don't you?
My father has sent him to me.
And what has your angel asked of you in return?
Christine did not reply. She was hurt that Raoul could doubt her. As she turned and ran away, Raoul tried to follow, but she shouted to him,
You must leave me alone. You don't understand.
As if to protect Christine, a tall black figure suddenly shot up in front of Raoul, blocking his way. He froze, terrified. when he found the courage to reach out and touch it, the figure pulled back the hood of its cloak, and Raoul looked into the face of death. The next morning, the Viscount was found by a priest outside the church, half frozen, more dead than alive, and barely able to remember what had happened. After asking Raoul where he had come from, the priest took him back to the old inn. Christine had already returned to Paris without a word.